The Honorable Junet, you may proceed with debate.
Honorable Speaker, the chair, whom I respect so much, had his time for moving his motion on the regulations. So he's just feeling he wants to have another bite because of the issues I'm raising. Unfortunately, you have just finished your time. So, Chair, and the majority
Honorable
leader...
Junet, just proceed, because
so, Madam Chair,
that was just a point of argument. So please proceed.
Chair, the issue I'm raising is that we are discussing here issues of financial inclusion, Madam Chair. This fund that is being proposed through this regulation, Madam Chair, cannot...
What is out of order, Honorable?
Cannot have financial... cannot do even an...
I will disturb you again, Honorable Junet, because I have a point of order from the Leader of Majority. What is out of order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I also rise on Standing Order 81, because Honorable Chair, the Honorable Junet seems irritated on interruptions, but I want to encourage him, if he not to invite interruptions, Honorable Speaker, because on statement of fact, the regulations, Honorable Speaker, that we are debating, the Honorable Junet just got a copy of the committee's report from the desk here. And I am certain he might not have read, because had he read, I would really prevail on him to point out to the country, because you are addressing the country. When you say that this fund is limited to a maximum of 50,000 shillings, which is not factual and is not true. And Honorable Speaker, now, Honorable Speaker, you can hear what the Honorable Junet is saying. He is alluding to people. We are discussing what is before the House, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, there is nothing in the regulations that limit this financial inclusion fund to 50,000 shillings. And Honorable Speaker, the product, when launched, Kenyans should be patient, and the Honorable Junet should also be patient enough to wait for all the products to be launched, Honorable Speaker, because you'll be able to borrow from as little as you can up to the maximum you're able to repay.
Honorable Majority Leader, you've made your point. But I would like to say that you made reference to Standing Order number 81, and I would like to read it for record. No member shall speak to any question after the same has been put by the Speaker. So I think you made a mistake on the Standing Order, and for that reason, the Honorable Junet proceeds, and I'm not going to interrupt you again.
Madam Honorable Speaker.
I believe that you are misled by the Honorable Chepkonga.
Honorable Speaker. No,
the Honorable Junet proceeds with the debate.
The ones who are disrupting
you proceed with debate, and you are not going to be disturbed.
Madam Chair,
just proceed.
Honorable Chair, it is for a fact, and it's the public domain, that none other than the Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, said that this fund maximum is 50,000 shillings. It's on record. And he said much of this money will go to women, not even men. But anyway, Madam Speaker, the question I'm asking is, if you are to help, for example, the border people in this country, one border today is costing 120,000 shillings in the shops that sell borders. And you want to give a border guy 50,000 shillings only. Where is he going to get the border from? How are you going to remove him from the poverty that you said you'll remove him from? Because if he's paying the 50,000 you are giving him, with interest, and he has a loan there, and then he has to look for another 70,000 shillings to buy the border, and then he has to borrow also 70,000 from somewhere and pay with it interest. This is making lives of the hustlers even more difficult than the way they found it, Madam Speaker, before elections. Madam Speaker, we have so many funds in this country. We have the Youth Fund, we have the Women Fund, we have the Gov Fund, we have CDF Fund, we have Uwezo Fund. What is the point of creating a fund just in the name of your campaign slogan, in the name of hustle, when you know very well that the Youth Fund is there to help the youth, the Uwezo Fund is there to help business people, the Women Fund is there. Why don't you strengthen those funds? Why can't you put more money in those funds and make them interest-free, Madam Speaker? Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as the minority, we will not accept Kenyans to be hoodwinked. We will not accept Kenyans to be lied to. I want to tell Kenyans from the floor of this House that that fund is not going to change their lives. I can guarantee you, because how can you get a loan with interest of 8%, Madam Speaker, Honorable Speaker, and you are a hustler? Will you be paying the interest or will you be paying the principal? They were told during the campaigns that we are going to put 50 billion shillings in the budget that is going to help, going to change their lives, and they're going to be given for free. It's on record, Madam Speaker. That is the money that the hustlers were expecting. That is the money that the hustlers were waiting for until things changed. Madam Speaker, this is a classical example of how politicians lie to Kenyans. They tell you all manner of things. Me, the only money that I was sure that will not be Kenyans will not be lied to is the 6,000 shillings Baba promised to every Kenyan. That one I was sure, because 6,000 is affordable. Every family will have gotten their 6,000. But this one, Madam Speaker, of telling you that we are going to give you money to do business, to change your life, to make things better for you, and then you turn around and you say, no, it's a loan. You must pay back with interest of 8%. There are cooperative societies that are lending at 8% in this country today, even lower than that. Why should I go to Asla Fund? And then they said there are penalties. If you default in paying this loan, there are penalties, there are punishments, your things will be sold, your sofrias will be collected from your house, your mattresses will be auctioned, your beds will be auctioned, Madam Speaker. Do you want to put Kenyans in that kind of situation, Madam Speaker? That's what loan means. If you default in a loan, that means everything you own will be auctioned, Madam Speaker. It's a fact. Madam Speaker, Honorable Speaker, why do you want to auction Kenyans, Madam Speaker? Why don't you give Kenyans even a loan, a fund that has an interest of even 1% if you're serious about helping Kenyans? Why can't you make the interest 1% if you want to change the lives of Kenyans, Madam Speaker? Why 8%? In the first place, Kenyans were expecting free money. They were expecting monies that they can be used, that they can be given so that they can improve their lives. But now you have decided to say it's money that's supposed to be repaid with interest. Why can't you reduce the interest to 1% then if you're serious about helping Kenyans? Madam Speaker, this one is one of the things that is going to finish Kenya Kwanza before even 2027. This is one of the biggest fraud that is happening in our country, Madam Speaker. This is a hustler fraud now. This is not hustler fund. The name is hustler fraud. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I oppose the regulations, and Kenyans must be told the truth before they vote for you. This is the biggest con game that has ever happened after the election.
Members, we proceed. I'll have one person from the left and one from the right. And now we have a chance for the Honorable Ruku, who is a member from Mbeere North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is important to notify you, Madam Speaker, that I'm a member of the Delegated Committee, Registration Committee, and these regulations. I'm a member of the Delegated Registration Committee of this House. And these regulations, Madam Speaker, were brought to this to our committee by the relevant government department or the ministry, and we discussed and interrogated this regulation in a very serious manner. And Madam Speaker, if there is something which has been designed to take care of the bottom of the pyramid, if you look at the UESO fund, if you look at youth fund and other funds available targeted by the government, are formed in a very elitist manner. It is only these regulations which are considering, and the visibility studies were done.
What is out of order, the Honorable Emmanuel Wangwe?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Nabakolo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise on Standing Order 83. Just to ask maybe to find out, is the member in order? I seek that he takes his position. Is the member in order, Honorable Speaker, to refer to a committee called Committee on Delegated Registration, which when I check in the order book, I have not been able to find out in which is the establishing standing order. Am I in order, Honorable Speaker, that informs me if it exists in this House, Honorable Speaker?
We'll give some leeway to the new members of parliament. I believe that the Honorable Ruku meant delegated legislation. So you may proceed, Honorable Ruku.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for your defense. I was saying, Madam Speaker, that the only fund which is not elitist is this fund we are trying to table on this House to be considered. Why am I saying this, Madam Speaker? The feasibility studies which have been conducted before proposed regulations outline clearly that over 5 million Kenyans are the one who every single day they seek between 500 shilling to 50,000. What Honorable Junet is talking about, members of people in our villages, in our different constituencies, want to get loan for more than 50,000 Kenyan shilling, those are not within the category of the bottom of the pyramid. This category, which is about five or more million Kenyans, have been found themselves in very shaky, very intertwined manner in Shyrok and in other loans which they cannot be able to repay. And this fund, Madam Speaker, is coming to save, to take care of these people who their problem is 500 bob, is 1,000 Kenyan shilling, is 200, is 2,000, up to 50,000 Kenyan shilling. The management of the fund, Madam Speaker, if you look at the regulation, it is well classified, it is well detailed, that you have a CEO who will run the fund on a day-to-day basis, with a board of management, or the board of governance, or the board of trustees, who will be taking care of the management of the fund. And it is well stated in the regulation how these members of the board will be nominated and how they are supposed to manage this fund. Therefore, Madam Speaker, we can, as a committee, we can state and we can assure Kenyans that their money will not be lost, because there is even an aspect of saving, Madam Speaker. For every shilling you borrow and you save, the government of Kenya will earn 2 more shillings. That says, Madam Speaker, that it will come a point when you not need to borrow more money for you to conduct your business. And it is stated in regulation. Honorable Angwe need to go through the regulations thoroughly, and you'll be able to see the regulation. So, Madam Speaker, I support these regulations. I support these regulations for the ASRAS fund.
What is out of order, Honorable Junet?
Honorable Speaker, I rise on a point of order that, is it in order to insinuate that for every shilling you borrow from Hustler Fund on an interest of 8%, that the government will contribute to your savings 2 shillings? Madam Chair, when the government itself is lending you at 8%, they're not giving you free money. Why can they give you then free money if they are able to give you 2 shillings for you to save? Madam Speaker, these are the kind of lies that we don't want to be allowed in this country.
Made your point, but I would like to ask the Honorable Ruku, is that truthful? Now, I have given a point of order to the Honorable Junet, and he has raised an issue about truthfulness within the regulation. And I would like to ask whether the Honorable Ruku, would you like to withdraw, or it is in the regulation?
Madam Speaker, if you borrow 500 shilling, there is a percentage which you receive. Out of that percentage you receive, the government will earn 2 shilling. If it is 1 shilling, you have saved. That is factual, Madam Speaker.
Proceed with your debate.
Therefore, what I'm saying, Madam Speaker, is that we don't have any other fund in the Republic of Kenya which has such element as envisaged by these regulations. And these regulations are here so that we can have a fund which is taking care of the bottom of the pyramid, which is taking care of the hustlers in a manner that has not been done in the past. And that is why, Madam Speaker, we are confident that the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, in coming up with this regulation, it is for the interest of the very poor in our constituencies across this country. Madam Speaker, I support these regulations.
Very well, member for Mbeere North. Mbeere North. The next opportunity, honorable members, goes to the member for Mwingi Central, the Honorable Gideon Mulyungi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to oppose vehemently these regulations on the following basis. Number one, when Kenya Kwanza was moving around traversing the country during the campaign period, they promised Kenyans many things. Amongst them, the Asola Fund. And they promised these things to be delivered within the first 100 days, most of them. And the Asola Fund, even if you took clips during the campaign trail, was to be interest-free. And Madam Speaker, you know Kenya Kwanza got used to moving around and dishing out money to hustlers. And the expectations after elections was that the same money that was being dished out during the campaign period will continue to be dished out, and even much more, from government after the elections. But now the hustlers have turned around. They have changed their mind. They have discovered that what they promised is not practical. And they are now putting interest on the money that they promised to give hustlers for free. Madam Speaker, there are many other things apart from this hustler fund which they promised. They promised food security. We know people out there are dying of hunger. Especially in my constituency, I've lost 4 people out of hunger. And that food, the only food that I received in my constituency was 450 kilogram banks of rice for a population of over 500 persons, which is a drop in the ocean. And therefore, Madam Speaker, I therefore think that Kenyans are being taken for a ride by the Kenya Kwanza government by these regulations which have been tabled here. Because as my leader here, the minority leaders, said very clearly that there are so many funds out there which have been devolved by the previous administrations. Kibaki himself introduced a Uwezo fund, which was interest-free. And even to date, although somebody has said from the other side that the fund has collapsed, it is still there. It is, oh yes, Uhuru Kenyatta introduced that. And of course, President Kibaki introduced CNDF. All these funds are there. Jubilee also came and introduced GAF. It is there. And it is free. It's free money. Women here, women reps here, county women reps, they give this money, they buy things for women and the youth for free. They don't pay back. They buy umbrellas. They buy borders. For free. They don't pay back. And therefore, Madam Speaker, I think we are being taken for a ride because Kenya Kwanza have now come to reality. They have seen the reality of the economy of Kenya, and they have discovered that what they promised is completely not practical. And therefore, they are introducing these regulations with interest so that they can collect money and from hustlers. In my view, what I think these people should be doing is continuing giving money the way they were giving during the campaigns. Give Mama Mboga their money. Give Boda their money the way they were giving. continue giving it, and not refundable, because Mama Mboga, how does she refund money? Mama Mboga, Nimban, they put their ware beside the road. They don't even have a shop. So where they don't even have a bank account. So how will you pay? How will you pay back? They live hand to mouth. Whatever they collect that day, they go and buy food for their children. The balance, they pay school fees. The rest, they come to us. We give them CDF bursaries. Therefore, they should continue doing that. And in my view, instead of wasting time tabling regulations here, putting people at risk, because when you put a law in Parliament, it's like you are now giving notice that you are going to arrest these people, because this will become law. So I'm passing a message to the hustlers down there that you will go to jail if you receive this money, because you will not pay. You will not be able to pay. And therefore, be careful. Be warned in advance. Be warned in advance. Don't take this money. And therefore, Madam Speaker, what I expect Kenya Kwanza to be doing is to reduce taxation. Reduce tax from 16% to 10% if you care about the hustlers. Remove tax on motorcycles.
The Honorable Mulungi, I have a point of order from the Honorable Miruka Afa, member for Bomachage.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
What is out of order, Honorable Member?
Is the member in order to mislead the Kenyans that if they borrow the hustlers fund, they will be jailed? Number two, is the member in order to mislead the Kenyans that Mama Mboga, there in the village, should be having a bank account for him to access hustlers fund? That's not the case. For you to access hustlers fund, you need a telephone number and an ID number. That's my point of order.
Well, it is very, he made it very humorous. His debate was very humorous, but I want to say this. The Honorable Mulungi is in order to debate this motion the way he feels like, because I believe from the way he's debating, he must have read the motion. Honorable members, let us do this. Let us be patient. We give each side of the divide enough time to debate. But if you have a point of order, I'll for sure give you. But what I'll say about your point of order, Honorable Member, is that he is in order. You may proceed. Honorable Junet, who do you want to inform? Honorable Mulungi, do you want to be informed by the Honorable Junet Mohammed?
Yes. Madam Chair, I want to inform Honorable Gideon Mulungi, former PS and architect, a very learned man in this country, that who has served this country in a very high capacities, that the law is very clear. If this House passes a law and the law gets enforced and that law is applied, and which means if you borrow a loan and you don't pay it back and you default, you will be jailed. That's all. We want to tell hustlers that if you default paying this hustler loan, you will be jailed. Period.
Honorable members, for the purpose of making progress, I will ask the Honorable Mulungi to proceed with the motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Your time is almost up, but please proceed.
Yeah, just 1 minute. Yeah, I want to inform my colleague, Honorable Meruka, who's my friend, that where I come from, Mama Mbogas don't have touch phones. So it will be very difficult for them even to use phones to apply this loan. Finally, Madam Speaker, what I expect Kenya Kwanza to be doing is to lower the cost of fuel, lower taxation, give these borders for free. That is what I expect. Build kiosks for Mama Mbogas for free so that they can be seen to be supporting them. And therefore, Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I oppose the regulations. Thank you.
Well, the Honorable Member for Molo, the Honorable Kimani.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And from the onset, I would like to say I support this public finance management regulations of 2022. And because, Madam Speaker, I love numbers, I'd like to inform, especially some of the colleagues that are really opposing this, a few numbers that will be critical to them. The interest rates on this Hustlers Fund is at 8% per annum. One of the honorable members referred to this as a government fuliza. And for the record, let me try to compare those two, so that the next time we tell him that he's out of order, he will know factually that he's out of order. For you to access fuliza loan, there is a facilitation fee of 7.5%. Just to access that fund, you need to pay a facilitation fee of 7.5%. What you're offering is there's no facilitation fee, no fee at all, just an interest rate of 8% per annum, no facilitation fee at all. The honorable member who just contributed talked about hustlers that do not have smartphones. And let me inform him that this product is accessible through a regular cellular phone, those called USSD, like the way you check Safaricom airtime *144#. Those hustlers that do not have smartphones will still be able to access this fund through what we call USSD. Madam Speaker, I would like to inform this House that as per the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics report of October 2022, our rate of inflation is at 9.6%. So where the rate of inflation is 9.6%, and we are accessing funds to these hustlers as 8% per annum, lie to only stupid people that we are stealing from them. This is a fund that is cheap, the cheapest in the market, the most accessible.
The Honorable Junet, what is out of order?
No. Chair, is it in order for the Honorable Member, Honorable Korea, who is a distinguished accountant, that because CPA, because the inflation rate today is 9.6%, and the Hustler Fund will be at 8%. Who told him that the inflation rate must remain at 9.6%? Inflation rate will come down to 1%, my brother. That is when the cost of living will come down. That's when life will be cheap. Don't make it look good. 9.6 is almost double digit. Well, so, Madam Speaker, let him not mislead the country and Kenyans that inflation is at 9.6% and this is 8%. No.
Honorable you made your point, and I was also listening, and the Honorable Kemani, you said lying to stupid people. That is unparliamentary. I would like you to withdraw, and then you proceed with the motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I withdraw the word stupid. But I will not withdraw because it's a matter of fact that our rate of inflation is at 9.6%. And I'm debating why 8% is reasonable. So, Honorable Banti and Honorable Junet, you had your chance to explain, and we give you a chance. So let me speak to hustlers. The other products that are available in the market, Madam Speaker, Tala and Branch are the most popular digital loans in this country. The interest rate of Tala is between 84 and 152% per annum. The rate of interest for Branch is between 156 and 348% per annum. And we're saying, because we care about the access to credit of that person at the bottom of the pyramid, who will not have access to circle borrowing like some of us, who has no security or collateral to take to the bank for the loans, we are giving you a solution. This solution will take you away from the yoke of Tala, the yoke of Branch, the yoke of Mshwari, and the yoke of all these other funds that, Mr. Speaker, continue to jeopardize the life and the safety and the health of these hustlers, Madam Speaker. To give you another example, border people now, Madam Speaker, are getting loans to buy motorcycles. But these sellers of motorcycles have been very shrewd in how they advance these loans, because they don't make it a fund. They tell you, come, pick a boda from us and pay 300 shillings, Madam Speaker. And then you'll pay. You will pay. And they'll urge you to pay and pay. But when you only have 1 or 2 installments left, they will come and take away that motorcycle, Madam Speaker. And that's what you're telling hustlers. That you have a chance to own that motorcycle without having the risk of you paying through the principal all these months, only for that motorcycle to be taken away when you have only 1 or 2 installments left, Madam Speaker. The credit ratings in this country, Madam Speaker, that has been used by the banks, if you default your loan once or twice, Madam Speaker, then you get to lose.
Honorable Jessica Mbalu, what is out of order, Honorable Jessica?
Honorable Speaker, I'm getting confused. When the members debate and say this is a hustlers fund, seriously, I've not seen anywhere written hustlers fund. Let us follow the motion. It is financial inclusion fund. Financial inclusion fund. Unless, Speaker, you have a different order paper.
Commonly referred to as. Honorable members, the Honorable Jessica has raised a valid matter. So please refer to the motion as stated. However, when members are debating, honorable members, they are allowed to make use of the language that resonates with their electorates. However, I would like to urge you, make reference to the order paper as it is. You may proceed, Honorable Kimani. You still have some time.
You know,
I'll give you a minute more because because of the disturbances.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We call it Financial Inclusion Fund. And for the sake of my debating this for the rest of my minutes, I would like to refer to it as, in my way my people understand, as a hustlers fund, Madam Speaker. I talked about the motorcycles. And I said, Madam Speaker, before I was interrupted, we have found businessmen that are now operating as financial institutions. And for them to escape the procedures that have been laid by this House in terms of regulations of opening a financial institutions, they are the ones lending directly these motorcycles to these boda riders, Madam Speaker. And they will wait until you have 1 or 2 installments to pay, and they come and take away those motorcycles, Madam Speaker. And I have numerous of those cases. And these are the people, Madam Speaker, we want to save by start of this fund, Madam Speaker. A lot has been said about how much is enough. And they have said 50,000 is nothing. 100,000 shillings is nothing. But let me tell you, honorable members, when I speak about the people that have elected me twice to this parliament, the great people of Molo, there's so many of them, that just having more, that is 10,000, that is 10% interest per day, Madam Speaker. And these are hardworking people, these are hardworking Molo people that want to earn their sweat, that want to have the dignity of work, not to have somebody follow them and just wait just when they're selling their wares. Then they have somebody who is there asking them to take their 10,000 shillings back at 10% interest, Madam Speaker. Most of members in this honorable House have access to cheap credit. Whether it is a bank overdrafts in our banks because we have payslips, whether it is our SACCO savings because we are able to save in a SACCO, or whether it is loans at the bank because we have securities to take to the banks, Madam Speaker. But how about we stopped our political differences and supported this bill, Madam Speaker? How about we don't just oppose it? How about if we enrich this motion, Madam Speaker? Because when we roll out this fund, it's not just going to be accessible and useful to Kenya Kwanza people, Madam Speaker. It's going to be accessible and in use to all members of this Republic of Kenya as per these regulations, Madam Speaker. So I urge this honorable House, let us enrich this motion. If you, instead of just opposing it, bring an amendment. And if you convince us that that amendment that you're bringing here will make this fund more accessible, more convenient, cheaper to the people of the Republic of Kenya, we will be happy to support you. And I'll be the first one to support this, Madam Speaker. Lastly, Madam Speaker, we are legislators. We could bring an amendment, whether it is an act of parliament or not. I'm just saying, let us have the fund accessible to Kenyans, and if you have something good to add, improve on this debate, Madam Speaker. Not just opposing for the sake of opposing, Madam Speaker. Lastly, I would like to urge Kenyans, let us get into the culture of saving. Let us get to the culture of honoring our debt obligations. And this fund, Madam Speaker, in the regulations, have a way of scoring, credit scoring, so that the more you are able to pay, the more you honor your loan obligation, then the higher amounts you qualify, the more you save, the government is matching that savings on you, so that at least this country can also improve on savings, Madam Speaker. And with that, I support this motion on this financial inclusion fund. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable John Bandy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I am aware that Kenyans are complaining about lack of access to credit facilities by micro, small, and medium enterprises. Actually, that is the category of the people we are targeting with financial inclusion. But as we say that, Madam Speaker, it is also true that as
well, you have a point? What is out of order, Honorable Millie Odhiambo?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't wish to interrupt my neighbor. But Madam Speaker, I think for people who know me, I rarely come to this house very early. Today I was actually here early. So I'm just concerned that I'm not actually seeing the Speaker noticing me. And I'm also a ranking member, Madam Speaker. So I'm not, I know Mbadi and I are political age mates. I'm not complaining about him, but I'm just concerned, even if you are putting into account gender issues, Madam Speaker. And the reason why I'm saying that is sometimes I understand that technology may be problematic. So I might actually be sitting here waiting for my turn when technology is a problem. I just wanted to assurance.
Honorable Millie Odhiambo, I had noticed that you are lifting your hand
yes.
up, and I requested someone to come to you because we could not see you anywhere on the screen. So you will get your chance, Honorable Millie. You may proceed, Honorable.
Actually, Millie is a very senior,
Honorable Bandy.
Yes, Millie is a ranking member. Although standing orders, although we are age mates here, but I'm ranking member #1 in this house after Dwale left, Madam Speaker. So I am still perfectly in order to go ahead of Millie. But Madam Speaker, I said that yes, access to credit facilities has been a challenge to micro, small, and medium enterprises in this country. But that cannot give government blank check to turn itself into Shylock. With these regulations, we are making the government of Kenya Shylock. The same Shylock that the Honorable MP for Molo was against is what the government of Kenya is going to do with our people. And I want to persuade the honorable members that we must reject these regulations so that they are done afresh. Why do I say so? In moving this motion, Madam Speaker, the mover, the Honorable Chepkonga, tried to persuade us that the 8% is meant for administrative costs. Madam Speaker, that is not correct. I want to read the same regulations, number 25. It says that administrative costs of the fund shall be met through appropriations of the State Department responsible for matters relating to micro, small, and medium enterprises. Madam Speaker, what that says in simple terms is that this House will be appropriating money which will be used to administer this fund. Therefore, the question you want to ask is, why are our people, why are these poor Kenyans being charged 8% per annum? And by the way, Madam Speaker, let no one cheat Kenyans that 8% is such a small percentage. 8% per annum is such a high percentage in some jurisdictions that would be unheard of. It is only in Kenya where accessibility to credit is difficult, where we have overborrowed money, where banks are charging obscene interest rates, where we think 8% is a low interest rate. If you borrow 50,000 shillings, you will be paying 4,000 shillings. That, if you divide, you will find that every day you are paying 11 shillings as interest only. And Madam Speaker, that is not small amount. In your mortgage loan, Madam Speaker, a member of parliament pays 3% per annum as interest rate. Public servants pay 3% as interest rate on mortgage. You are telling Kenyans that Mama Mboga out there, whom you have christened as a hustler, should pay 8% per annum. That is obscene interest rate that should not be allowed to pass in this house. Madam Speaker, where is the report of the actuaries who did tabulation and calculated and found out that 8% was the desirable interest
Honorable
rate?
Bandi, I have a point of order from the chair, the Honorable Chepkonga. What is out of order, Honorable Chepkonga?
I rise pursuant to Standing Order 81, Madam Speaker. Is it in order for the Honorable Badi to compare the parliamentary mortgage scheme in which people who are managing that scheme are employees of Parliamentary Service Commission, are not paid out of the interest that is charged to Honorable Badi's mortgage that is advanced to him? In fact, it is government which pays your salary for sitting in the mortgage committee. In fact, when I was a member, I was not being paid out of the mortgage. So the comparison of 3% is misleading. It is misleading. Secondly, the Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, I'm not debating, is it in order? Is it in order for the Honorable Badi to claim that the interest is so high when he knows as an accountant that the central bank has fixed the base at 8.75%. So the one of this fund, the ASLA fund, is lower by 0.75% from that which has been fixed by central bank, which is commercial rate, Madam Speaker.
You raised there are two matters that you raised. One was about the comparison. Honorable Bandi, the two are not comparable. I would like to say that the second point that you tried to make, you are debating on the motion, and I will not allow you to debate on the motion. So for that matter, I ask the Honorable Bandi to proceed with the debate.
And Madam Speaker, kindly guide the Honorable Chakoma. He keeps on quoting the wrong standing order. 81 does not talk to what you have always been talking about. Kindly read it. But Madam Speaker,
Honorable Member, since this is a House of Record, I would like to read 81. And Honorable Chepkonga, while you are away, Chepkonga,
you know, he was farming for 5 years.
Now you will save my minutes, because now...
I will save your minutes,
please.
I assure you.
Educating.
The Honorable Chepkonga, Standing Order number 81 has nothing to do with the matter you raised. It is 83. The moment you confuse the two numbers, it means you have erred. For that reason, I give a chance to the Honorable Bandi to finalize your debate.
You know, Madam Speaker, and I would want the chair to listen to this. The administrative cost of this fund is not going to be met from the 8%, unless you have a different set of regulations. It is clear that the administrative costs of the fund shall be met through appropriations of the state department responsible for matters relating to micro, small, and medium enterprises. So it has nothing to do with the 8%. You have been misleading this House. So, Madam Speaker, the 8% is for what? And I still want to insist that this 8% is so high. You cannot compare the base lending rates with what we should charge the poor Kenyans out there. The reason why the base lending rate is where it is today is because of the overborrowing by the government. What the government should do, what Kenya Kwanza should do, and I thought that is what you promised us in rallies, is to maintain fiscal discipline, to help manage the monetary policy of the country, to lower the base lending rate even to 3%, 4% as it is in other jurisdictions, and then you can charge our hustlers 3-4%. In fact, Madam Speaker, there is nobody who has ever started business with loan and has succeeded. Loans are used to enhance businesses, expand businesses, make them more viable. But starting business with a loan is suicidal. The government should have thought of giving the hustlers, and I want to use this word very strongly because you used it during campaigns. The hustlers should be given grants to start their business. So start off. We support this establishment of fund, but not to extort our people. Fleece them. Make them more poor in the name of giving them capacity. The members of parliament here, let me warn you, the moment you allow this fund to be operational, your electorate will borrow it. They will come to you when now the government has come for the assets. We have seen it with women funds. People will be auctioned. 8%, and if you default, 9.5%. What kind of a government can operate like this? I thought we had serious economists advising this government. Madam Speaker, I am persuaded that the economists advising our president, advising our cabinet, should be fired as early as yesterday. In fact, they should be fired because they're misleading this guy. You cannot make, and with the kind of economy we are in, we are still struggling to come out of the COVID period. Madam Speaker, we are struggling to come out of the COVID period. Which business can even give you 5% profit?
I see the Honorable
You want to charge our people 8%?
The Honorable Ruku, as a point of information, but I would like to ask the Honorable Bandi, who do you want to inform? Honorable Ruku, please give him the mic. He has a point of order. Yes, so that is why I'm asking the Honorable Ruku. Honorable Ruku, who do you want to inform? Honorable Ruku.
Madam Speaker,
You said you have a point of information.
I think there is nobody who is...
Who do you want to inform, Honorable Ruku?
The people of Kenya, because they are being deceived by Honorable Bandi. Honorable Bandi is misinforming the people. Unfortunately, you are out of order. You are out of order, Honorable Ruku. You are out of order. You cannot inform Kenyans when another member is in the middle of debate. Yeah, I know you are still learning the ropes, but you cannot do that. Yes, point of... What is out of order, Honorable Ruku? Madam Speaker, it is not fair for Honorable Bandi to... I want to be truthful, because as you keep on saying that this is a house of records. Loans pricing and distribution.
What is out of order, Honorable Ruku?
I'm rising on point on, what's the name of this book?
Do you want to ask the Honorable Chepkonga which point of order?
Give me
you
this
cannot
book.
ask...
106, starting orders number 106. Of irrelevant funds, that the point which Honorable Bandi is trying to make is totally irrelevant as far as the inclusion fund is concerned. And to that extent, he is misreading this house. Starting under number 106. Yeah? No. Yeah, irrelevance or repetition. Standing on the number 106, Madam Speaker. I am aware about the standing order, even if I'm a new member of this house. Okay, irrelevance. Honorable Bandi, whatever is informing this House is completely irrelevant as far as the way the Asras Fund has been convinced and established under these regulations. And that is what I want to address, Madam Speaker, if you allow me.
Well, Honorable Ruku, you have actually done very well in terms of truthfulness. That 106, Standing Order 106 is about relevance. But, listen, the Honorable Bandi was relevant to the motion, Honorable members, so that we may make progress. I would like to allow the Honorable Bandi to proceed. What is out of order, Honorable Junet?
Madam Speaker, I really appreciate what Honorable Rukwa said. But you see, Madam Speaker, the Standing Order 106 is talking about relevance to the debate.
Honorable Junet. Honorable Junet.
Relevance to the debate.
Honorable Junet.
But Mr. Speaker, Madam
unfortunately,
Speaker,
Honorable Junet, you cannot raise a point of order on another point of order. So you are out of order. Honorable Bandi, proceed.
Madam Speaker, I really don't know what was irrelevant in what I was saying. I was really struggling to hear what the member for Mbeere North was saying, but anyway, I failed to understand what he was saying. But anyway, I have said that this fund is going to be very costly to our people. Two, Madam Speaker, and what has really disturbed me, you are asking Kenyans that when you are borrowing money, 5% of what you are borrowing is automatically saved somewhere, and where they even don't know. You are not even telling us where this money is going to be saved. But that is not the point. I have never heard anywhere I go to the bank to borrow money to do business, and I'm told that I have to leave 5% of what I'm borrowing to be saved for me. I am borrowing to do business, for heaven's sake. Money borrowed, you cannot be forced to save money you have borrowed. I don't know anyone in this house who is a good financial manager who borrows money and saves. You can't borrow money and save. There is no money. Now, most of the savings in this country, Madam Speaker, and I'll give money market, which is one of the safest way of borrowing in this country. The interest rate at the moment is less than 9%. You are borrowing money which you are paying at 8%. Someone is going to save it for you in a government institution, most of which are run down and are not going to give you even 5% interest, yet you are paying 8% on that loan. Please allow Kenyans to use the money they are borrowed to do business. You can encourage them to invest or save the profit arising out of the business they have done. But you cannot force any Kenyan to borrow 50,000 and out of it 2,500 is automatically deducted. That is why we are saying that this government is becoming a Shylock. This government is becoming Fuliza. It is Tala, and I'm sure in a different name. That these are the same, in fact, it has borrowed largely. This fund, Madam Speaker, has borrowed all the bad manners of these institutions we are talking about. If you borrow Fuliza, there is automatically an amount deducted, Madam Speaker. If you borrow Mshwari, it is the same. If you borrow from the government of Kenya, under Kenya Kwanza, automatically a percentage is deducted. This is a Fuliza government. Whether you like it or not, this is a Fuliza government in a different name. And Kenyans did not expect this, Madam
Honorable
Speaker.
members,
Kenyans were promised.
Honorable Bandi, order. I have a point of order by the Honorable Miruka Afa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think I respect.
What is out of order, Honorable Miruka?
The point of order is this: is the member in order to say that Asala's fund is equivalent to Fuliza? Fuliza, let me explain. Fuliza fund, they automatically deduct your amount in terms of interest. Asala's fund does not have interest. You are going to be deducted. The 8% is per annum, which in the regulation we are debating now. I'm not sure whether the regulation has the 8%. We are discussing about the regulation of the fund to enable a common manager access this fund in a free manner that he is able to sustain his life. But is the member in order to equate Hustlers Fund and Freezer Fund?
Honorable Bandi, would you like to make an explanation to the House on that matter that has been raised?
Yeah, I will educate him, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Fuliza, when you borrow, I have not borrowed Fuliza myself, but from what I hear, 7.5% is automatically deducted. From this financial inclusion fund, if you borrow, 5% is deducted. Same characteristics. The only difference, 7.5%, 5%. This one, Madam Speaker, is charging 8% interest. In Fuliza, the percentage is higher, but you are still charged. Fuliza, again, you are going to receive it via the phone. So what is the difference between this money and Fuliza? Nothing. This is, in fact, I said before majority leader walked in, the moment your people borrows this money, they will fail to pay, they will come to you to help them pay. Madam Speaker, I want to just urge, I want to urge this House. Madam Speaker, I want to urge this House.
He has only half a minute, but we have a point of order from the leader.
I want to urge this House.
Leader of Majority Party, what is out of order?
Honorable Speaker, the Honorable John Badi has mentioned me and the people of Kikuyu, and you know the people of Kikuyu are very dear to me. And besides that, I was in the office, Honorable Speaker, listening to the contribution by Honorable John Badi that is laden with a lot of misleading information, Honorable Speaker. And I just walked back in because part of what the Honorable John Badi contends that the people of Kikuyu will not be unable to pay because they are being forced to pay. They are not being forced to save. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable John Badi is a seasoned accountant and a very experienced one like myself, only that I qualified as an accountant before him.
The Honorable Bandi. Order, Honorable Bandi.
You know, when I was a student at the University of Nairobi, in 1996, Honorable Speaker, is when I qualified as an accountant. The Honorable John Badi was a junior accountant at the Students' Welfare place there, next to Hall 9. As a junior officer, and he was not qualified. He was only qualified later. Honorable Speaker, more importantly, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable John Badi, as an accountant, knows that you will not today walk into a bank without any banking history and be afforded the opportunity to access credit. It is that informs, Honorable Speaker, if you can protect me from the shouting by the Honorable Millie Odhiambo. And she gets accustomed to listening to when serious legislators like myself and Honorable John Badi are engaging on serious issues, then she may have the temperament to just listen. Because you borrow based on your credit history, Honorable Speaker, in the banking sector. It is that this fund is seeking to achieve, Honorable Speaker, because when the bank asks you for your 6 months bank statements to be able to evaluate whether you can borrow money from them, it's because you have built some history. It is that the fund seeks to do by ensuring that people also are saving within the fund. And I heard Honorable John Badi say that you are saving in amorphous government institutions. If you are a member of a SACCO, your savings go into your SACCO. The savings that you save, Honorable Speaker, will also is your money. You are not saving and that money going to government. Tomorrow you will not need to borrow. You just need to access your savings once you have repaid your loan. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I just want to correct the misinformation because the Honorable John Badi, as an accountant, accountants will deal with facts and figures. And he knows his facts, but he wants to play politics. And Honorable Speaker, I'm sure it's good to play the politics, but it's also unfair to misinform the people of Kenya and allude to the fact that people are being forced to do this, people will be unable to pay, and I just want to inform him that the people of Kikuyu are yearning for this fund, and they will pay the loan they access.
You've made your point that you are indicating that the Honorable Bandi has only 1 minute. I am finding it very difficult, Honorable Junet, to give you a point of order on top of another point of order. I'll follow the rules of this House, that I cannot have a point of order on another point of order, Honorable Junet. You have a point of information. So who do you want to inform, Honorable Junet? You have 1 minute to do so.
Now, Sasa. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to inform Honorable Mbadi that what the majority leader is doing in the floor of the House is very wrong. You stand on a point of order, then you start debating. We are not, this is not, we are under the standing orders. We are not under the orders of Ishungwa, Madam Speaker, in this House. This is the 4th time he's doing this. This is the 3rd time he's doing in my presence, Madam Speaker, that he raises on a point of order, then he starts debating. Madam Speaker, the majority leader is not above the standing orders. The majority leader must operate within the standing orders. And he knows very well that the people of Kikuyu constituency have been conned through Hustler Fund. Thank you very much.
Honorable Bandi, you have 1 minute to finish your debate.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As I conclude, and you know, majority leader is even misleading this House that I'm his junior. You know, in professions, you become a junior of someone depending on when you are registered. And Madam Speaker, if we brought our registration, the time we were registered, even his registration number is my junior with so many years. And I will tell you, I did CPA in a record 2 years. You struggled for 3-4 years. So, Madam Speaker, let me just wind up. That, to be honest, let us reject these regulations. Even look, Madam Speaker, on Regulation 21, where it gives the financial intermediaries powers. They may match the funds or may not. We should be clear that if you are accessing this fund as a financial intermediary, you must match the funds. Shall match the funds, not may. May is giving leeway to these intermediaries to get access to this fund, do business with it without matching. So the committee did a shoddy job. We must return this regulation. We need this fund. By the way, we must have this fund.